Welcome! In this short training video, we will be going over the B4 Travel Per Diem Budget category that includes the travel budget lines and narrative sections, which are on page 5 of the Multi-Year Contract Budget Development Form. Everything in this top section will be pre-filled for you based on what you have already entered on page 1 of this form. Before you begin entering your budget, remember to save your work often in CMS by clicking on the Submit button at the bottom of the budget page. We will first look at the B5 Travel Expense Per Diem Total Budget. You will see we have entered a travel expenses line. We recommend using this line item should it be applicable to your program. The line item or items that you use in your budget must be supported by the work outlined within your work plan. Only staff listed in your personal services expense budget on page 2 should be included under this travel budget category. In the PA column, you must indicate for each line item listed whether that item will be charged to the grant as programmatic, P, or administrative, A. In our example, we have this item charged to P for programmatic. If the item will be charged to both programmatic and administrative, you must create two separate lines. You can see similar examples of split charges to A and P within the other budget videos. Under each budget year, you will list the amount you are allocating for each line item. For most grant awards, your annual award amount stays the same and funds cannot be rolled over to other budget periods. When entering the amount for each line item, be sure to use whole dollars and no cents to avoid any technical issues in completing and finalizing your contract. Each line item should include all anticipated cost projections for each budget period. We request that all contractors do their best to project increases over the course of the term of the contract. Building in a projected increase that is in line with your annual award for each budget period will give a more realistic expectation of how you will sustain your program. For example, in budget year 1, you will see that we budgeted $10,517, and in budget years 2 through 5, we budgeted $13,000 per year. Now let's look at how the B5 Travel Per Diem Total Narrative supports this budget. When completing the narrative section, there are several important things to include. Be sure to list items in the narrative in the same order they were listed in the budget. Items covered by local share should also be listed in the narrative as covered by local share match. You can see examples of local share items within the other budget videos. Within the budget narrative, do not list any dollar amounts unless requested by OCFS, as all dollar amounts belong in the line items. We recommend starting from the narrative provided in the sample budget and updating to fit your program needs as appropriate. For example, within the narrative it reads, expenses may include, but are not limited to, travel to support activities listed in the work plan, such as conferences, staff development opportunities, trainings, and meetings as they become available and are scheduled throughout the year. Other travel expense examples may include home visits, assessments, enrollments, intake and outreach, shadowing of staff on home visits, performing quality assurance at home visits, travel to local agencies, as well as travel to perform duties, meet performance goals, and meet client needs. If your program doesn't do assessments or enrollments, then these should be removed from the narrative. You should also add items as applicable for your program. Here are some additional tips. Travel expenses for consultants and other non-personal staff and/or clients will either go in the B4 Contractual Consultants section to be included with their agreement, or in B8 Other when you are covering the cost upfront for these individuals. The travel budget category should not include the following: registration fees, training expenses, gas, and vehicle maintenance. All New York State travel estimates must be based on New York State rates. These rates can be found on the Office of the State Comptroller's website at the address on your screen. Click on Agencies at the top, and then Guide to Financial Operations at the bottom. The rates are in Chapter 13.4. With travel mileage in 13.4.c and meal allowance breakdown in 13.4.d. New York State does not reimburse for lunch. New York State does not reimburse non-business related expenses such as speeding fines, parking tickets, laundry, entertainment, for example, theater tickets, in-room movies, and alcohol, and other personal charges. When meals and/or lodging are provided as part of a conference or event, additional reimbursement is not permitted. Travelers should use the most efficient and cost-effective method of transportation available. When choosing a method of transportation, several factors should be considered. Distance being traveled, travel time, number of travelers, number of locations to be visited, type of transportation available, employee salaries, and overtime. Out-of-state travel must be pre-approved by your New York State OCFS program manager prior to when reservations or arrangements are made. Travel, mileage, and per diem rates must reflect the latest approved policies and rates set forth by the New York State Office of the State Comptroller, or OSC. Rates apply based on where the destination is located, not the location of the program or agency. We hope you found this video helpful. To continue completing your expense-based budget, please watch the next video.